It's music theory online. Let's learn some theory online by watching modules online with music theory online.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Module 3. We'll begin this module with a review of simple time. After we review simple time, we'll continue on to compound time. Our study of time wouldn't be complete without reviewing rests, duplets, and triplets. All of your music has time signatures at the beginning. The time signature is about numbers. The top number, which takes up the top two spaces, tells you how many beats there are in each measure. The bottom number, which takes the bottom two spaces, tells you which kind of note gets one beat. It's very important to remember that time signatures are not fractions. You never draw a line between the top number and the bottom number because they're not fractions. The time signature is always written after the clef and before the key signature. An easy way to remember is that K comes before T in the alphabet. Therefore, the key signature comes before the time signature. Common time is represented by the letter C, and it means 4/4. Cut time is the same as 2/2. It looks like a C with a line through it. Beats, which are strong and weak pulses, divide time into units of equal length. These divisions are called measures or bars. Bar lines shows us how we group our notes together. However fast or slow we play is the tempo. Let's have a quick review of simple time. In simple time, the top number is either a 2, which is duple, a 3, which is triple, or a 4, which is quadruple. In duple time, we have strong beats and then a weak beat, and it sounds like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. In triple time, we have strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. In quadruple time, we have strong, weak, medium, weak, strong, weak, medium, weak. Here we have our time signatures for simple time. We can have simple duple, which is going to be 2/2, 2/4, or 2/8. If our time signature is 2/2, it means we have 2 half notes in each measure. 2/4 means there's 2 quarter notes in each measure, and 2/8 means that there are 2 eighth notes in each measure. In simple triple time, we always have a 3 on the top, and the bottom numbers can be 2, 4, or 8. In 3/2 time, it means that we would have 3 half notes in each measure. In 3/4, we would have 3 quarter notes in each measure, and in 3/8, we would have 3 eighth notes in each measure. In simple quadruple time, we always have a 4 on the top. And again, the bottom number is going to tell us what type of note gets one beat. In 4/2, that means a half note is going to get one beat, and there's 4 half notes in each measure. In 4/4, a quarter note is going to get one beat, and there's 4 quarter notes in each measure. In 4/8, there's 4 eighth notes in each measure, and an eighth note gets one beat. Compound time is quite different. The top number of the time signature tells us how many pulses are in each measure. The bottom number tells us what type of note gets one pulse. The pulses are then grouped together to form a dotted note. This dotted note becomes the unit beat. Another way of looking at it is the 3 pulses can be grouped together into a dotted note. That dotted note gives us the unit beat. In simple time, the unit beat is always an undotted note, and in compound time, the unit beat is always a dotted note. I know this is a little confusing. Let me try and explain this a little better. In simple time, the top number is telling you how many beats are in each measure. That's the unit beat. In compound time, the top number tells us how many pulses there are in each measure, and the unit beat is a grouping of 3 pulses. The pulses are further grouped together to form that dotted, and that dotted note is our unit beat. Does this seem a little confusing? It can be. However, when you understand it, you will really get it. Do you remember in simple duple time we had 2 beats, strong, weak, strong, weak. In compound duple time we have 2 unit beats, strong, weak. However, these unit beats are always dotted notes. In simple duple time, the top number is 2. In compound duple time, the top number is always 6. What that means is that we always have 6 pulses in each measure in compound duple time. The 6 pulses are then grouped together to form 2 dotted notes, which gives us our unit beat. Like simple duple time, we have 2 unit beats. In simple triple time, we have strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak for 1, 2, 3. In compound triple time, we still have 3 unit beats. However, we have 9 pulses. The top number in simple triple time will be a 9. However, the 9 pulses are then grouped together to make 3 unit beats. In simple quadruple time, we have 4 beats in a measure. In compound quadruple time, we have 4 unit beats and 12 pulses per measure. Each unit beat must be a dotted note. In simple quadruple time, the top number of the key signature is 4, and in simple quadruple time, the top number of the key signature is 12. So we have 12 pulses per measure, which are then grouped into 4 unit beats. Let's review how compound and simple time signatures are written. In simple time, the top number always tells us how many beats are in each measure. In compound time, the top number is telling us the number of pulses in each measure. We must always be aware that our unit beat is by grouping our pulses in 3 in compound time. When you do this, you'll discover that whether you're in simple or compound time, you'll have the same number of unit beats in each measure. In simple time, the bottom number is telling you what kind of a note gets 1 beat. In compound time, the bottom note is telling you what type of note receives 1 pulse. What's the difference between simple and compound time? How we arrive at the unit beat. In this slide, you see a sample of simple quadruple, 4/4 time. The unit beat is a quarter note, and we have 4 quarter notes in each measure. We have 4 beats in the measure with a quarter note getting 1 beat. In compound time, we have 12 pulses in each measure, and the 8th note is 1 pulse. When we group our notes together, we discover that we have 4 unit beats, and the unit beat is a dotted quarter note. Here's the difference in the sounds. It's always interesting to compare 3/4 and 6/8 because you'll hear the difference in these 2 time signatures. In 3/4 time we have 3 beats, whereas in compound time we only have 2 beats. However, each beat has 3 pulses. Listen to the difference between 3/4 and 6/8. Here we have some more examples of some compound time signatures. This first example is in 6/8 time, and it's called compound duple. I'm going to circle the groups of 3 so you can see how it all fits together. Our first 3/8 notes group together, and that gives us our first unit beat. Then the next group of 3/8 notes are grouped together for our second unit beat. Here, I'll circle the second measure. For the third measure, do you see we have 2/8 notes and then an 1/8 rest? That still gives us our group of 3. I'll just finish this so you can see how they're all grouped in 3. Here's what it sounds like. In 9/8, we have compound triple time. Now what we're going to do is group together the eighth notes and the 2/16 notes and the other eighth note. That will give us our first unit beat. Our second unit beat is the same grouping of notes as well as the third unit beat. In the second measure, we have our first unit beat, then our second unit beat, then the dotted quarter note makes our third unit beat. In the third measure, we need to group together the quarter note into 16th notes for one unit beat. The eighth note and the 2/8 rests is our second unit beat, and the quarter note and the eighth note is the third unit beat. I'm going to play this for you. However, I'm not going to observe all the tied notes. I think you'll hear how 9/8 works better if you hear all the notes. I'm sure you've all seen and played triplets in your music. A triplet is simply 3 notes that you're playing in the time of 2. We only see triplets in simple time. Let me play for you this example. Did you hear how the triplet eighth notes were played as 2/8 notes? Remember though, you only see triplets in simple time. This example has duplets. That means that we know it's going to be in compound time. Let's discover how many pulses are in each measure. Our first group of notes gives us 3/8 notes. The duplet eighth notes are going to equal 3/8 notes. In the second measure, the duplet gives us 3 beats. And the second part of this measure also gives us 3/8 notes. The duplets that you see in the first measure mean that you're playing 2 notes in the time of 3. I'm going to play this line for you so you can hear your duplets. When you're working with rests and compound time, you must complete each pulse before moving on to the next pulse. All pulses must also be clearly grouped to show the unit beat. In our first measure, the unit beats are clearly marked. We have 2 unit beats, and each unit beat is a dotted quarter note. In the second measure, you can also see each unit beat. You can really write it either way, with a quarter rest with a dot or quarter rest with an eighth rest. My preference, though, is what's in the first measure with the dotted quarter rest. In the third measure, you see each pulse with the eighth notes, and the eighth rest and the eighth rest. These 3 together give us our unit beat of a dotted quarter note. In the second part of this measure, we have our dotted quarter rest, which gives us our second unit beat. The last measure shows us the quarter rest followed by the eighth rest. Again, either the dotted quarter rest or the quarter rest and eighth rest are acceptable. However, my preference is that you use the dotted quarter rest because it's more consistent with compound time grouping. Let's look at these examples and see if the rests all make sense to you. The first line is already done for us, but let's go over it together. We're in 6/8 time, so we need to be able to see our 2 unit beats. Our quarter note and eighth rest give us our first unit beat, and our pulse is 1, 2, 3. Our second unit beat is made up with the dotted eighth note, the 16th rest, and the eighth rest. In the second measure, our unit beats are circled. Our first pulse is the eighth note, and our second and third pulses are the eighth rests. Remember, we can't join the second and third pulses together, so in this example, we must draw individual eighth rests. Our second unit beat is the same as the second unit beat of the first measure. In the third measure, we have a dotted quarter rest, which gives us our first unit beat and our first 3 pulses, followed by a quarter rest, which gives us our 4th and 5th pulses, and an eighth note, which gives us our 6th pulse. In the last measure, we have an eighth note, and we must have 2 eighth rests because we cannot join the second and third pulses together. our line ends with a dotted quarter rest, which gives us a complete measure. Let's group together the second example. In 9/8 time, we're going to need 3 unit beats, with each unit beat equaling a dotted quarter note, or 9 pulses, with each pulse being an eighth note. The first dotted eighth note plus that 16th rest gives us our first and second pulse, and the eighth rest gives us our third pulse. So that's our first group, or our first unit beat. Then we have our dotted quarter note, which gives us 4, 5, 6, and the next dotted quarter rest gives us 7, 8, and 9. In the next measure, the eighth rest, the eighth note, and the eighth rest give us our first 3 pulses. The quarter rest and the eighth rest give us our 4, 5, and 6 pulse. In this case, we can use a quarter rest because it's joining the first and the second part of our unit beat together. This measure ends with a dotted quarter note, which is our 7, 8, and 9 pulse. In the next measure, the dotted quarter note and the eighth rest give us our first 3 pulses. The eighth rest and the 2 eighth notes gives us our second unit beat, or next 3 pulses. In this example, we have to use 2 eighth rests because we cannot join the second and third pulses together. And then we have our last group, which is the quarter note and the eighth rest. In our third example, notice how many eighth rests they are. We would never do this because you can't see your groups. What you would do is have your eighth note and 2 eighth rests, and that would give you your first unit beat. Your next unit beat would be a dotted quarter rest, so that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like in 4/4 or in 4/8, when we're in 12/8 or when we're in compound quadruple time, we can use 1 rest for the second half of the measure or the first half of the measure. In this case, we would use a dotted half rest for the second part of this measure. These dotted quarter rests should be grouped together. Instead of using 2 dotted quarter rests, a dotted half rest should be there. Anacrusis is when the music begins on any beat besides the first beat of the measure. That means the first measure that you play is incomplete. When you take that first incomplete measure and add it to the last measure, it should equal 1 measure. If you're required to count the number of bars or measures in a musical example, the first complete bar of music will be considered bar number 1. That means the anacrusis, or the upbeat, is not bar 1. In this example, you can see how it begins with an eighth note. That eighth note is beat number 4, and the last note in this example has the first 3 beats. That means the last beat and the first beat equal 1 complete measure of music. When you're counting measures or bars, the bar number 1 is this one, and we have bar number 2 here, then we have bar number 3, and bar number 4 consists of the last measure plus the anacrusis at the beginning. This is a review of what we've covered in this module. All simple time signatures have 2 or 3 or 4 on the top, while compound time signatures have 6, 9, or 12 on the top. In compound time, each unit beat is divisible into 3 notes of equal value. In compound time, the unit beat must be a dotted note. In simple time, the unit beat is an undotted note, and as I said, in compound time, it must be a dotted note. Triplets are 3 notes that are played in the time of 2 and are only found in simple time. Duplets are 2 notes that are played in the time of 3 and are only found in compound time. Anacrusis, or an upbeat, occurs at the beginning of a piece when the passage begins on any part of the beat besides the first beat. That first incomplete measure and the last incomplete measure will equal the 1 complete bar of music. If you're required to number the bars, always begin with the first complete measure. That would be measure number 1. This is an extremely important module, and a module you may find you need to watch more than once. Let's go over some of the things that we covered. Remember that when using dots in simple time, you must complete each partial beat before starting the next one. In compound time, you're going to complete each pulse. When there are 2 dots, the first dot adds half of the value of the given note, and the second dot adds half of the value of the first dot to the note. Each pulse must be finished off before moving on to the next pulse. Pulses must be clearly shown by being grouped together. This is a pretty big review module. I think you may find that you'll have to go over this more than once. But again, it's so important that all of these ideas are just very, very clear in your mind before we move on to anything more complicated. I'm sure I'll see you at Theory Club because I'm sure you'll have some interesting questions for me about this module. I look forward to receiving your assignments and seeing you at Theory Club this week. Have a super duper week. Bye.
It's music theory online. Let's learn some theory online by watching modules online with music theory online.